Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Open Tabs podcast. I'm Calvin Smith with Joe Carlos. Joe, what's up, man?
Nothing much, man. Good to see you, as always.
Good to see you as well,
Tag
sir.
team back again.
Check it to record now. Let's begin. Hey, look, man, that's a snazzy hoodie you got there.
Thank you. It is
commemorating something.
I'm very proud of it. You alluded to it last week. It is a World Series championship hoodie, commemorating the World Series win, obviously,
yes,
of the Texas Rangers. And
the Rangers of Texas.
Yes, the 2023 World Series champions. We are very, very excited, very happy, very proud. All those things. And yes, it came in the mail Saturday. I put it on immediately. Almost slept in it, but I was like, no, let's not do that. So, so I said I was searching for some. I don't have anything I only have like 2 pieces of Jordan brand merchandise.
Sure.
We'll get into that. We'll get into the why of that. And as we delve into this film, today's film. But so I said, you know what? Why don't overthink it. And I got that from one of the wisest people I know, Dr. Calvin Miles Smith III, MD.
Oh,
did you get my text today, by the way?
You sent me a text today.
I don't know if it went through. Like seriously. Oh, actually, it did not. It's message.
I don't have a text from you.
Message failure. That's President's message send failure. It was it was one of the 30 times a day that the Morehouse Wi-Fi goes out. So
I work at an HBCU too. So
yes, I know.
I totally understand.
The stakes are a bit higher where you are. Stakes are a bit higher.
The better.
So there's that is a letter that I found written to your uncle.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And references your namesake.
Yeah. Okay.
It references your namesake.
Y'all don't understand. This is how Joe be coming through, man. Like just cool. Random stuff cool. Like this. I gotta send this to my cousin Clint, man, because he's the family historian.
I'm sure. Hey, it's in the AUC Woodruff Library archives. Shout out to Ani J.
Yeah,
as always.
As always, the best.
Shout out to Ani J. Yes, absolutely, the absolute best. And so I stumbled upon that, and.
Ooh.
He
lived at this address for the entirety of his life.
I believe you, and it references your grandfather.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, Calvin needs to see this.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that was only one letter. There may be several others to reference.
That's big time.
At least your paternal, but probably also your maternal grandfathers. As well in the Morehouse archives and Woodruff Library. So,
man, one day I'm gonna get over there.
It's also virtual. That's where I found it. But I understand. I believe me, I understand.
They don't. The stacks are no longer like a physical thing. You used to be able.
They got stacks in there. They got stacks,
but they don't let you access them, do they?
Yeah, I mean, we know.
I got dangerous oils on my fingers and such.
It's gloves. It's gloves for that. Yeah. I remember that was a thing. Like at Howard, there was the stacks, and there was like a special piece, not unlike the Paper Chase, which is hopefully a film we could do one day, but not unlike the Paper Chase.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
I can see. You're a doctor. I understand what you had. It's like I'm sure there's some movie. Maybe is it Gross Anatomy? It's like the first year med movie.
Yes.
See the way you responded lets me know that Gross Anatomy is like you got to see Gross Anatomy.
I mean,
which could be the different. It could be a cultural difference there, but I think you get the gist.
I get the gist of it. Yeah.
So the Paper Chase is the law school equivalent of that.
It makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know where Gross Anatomy is set. I do, but Paper Chase is at Harvard Law, and it's the first year of Harvard Law for a group of guys. So, but there's these special in the Widener Library. There's a special area where notes are found, where you can find these notes, and they've got to sneak in. It was kind of like that at Howard. There was like a special area in the stacks.
Okay.
That you could kind of find between, you had to like look down and over, and I don't know what was in there. I never got over there, so I don't know what was in there. But if you go below Trevor Arnett, that's the original stacks
Mm.
In the basement of Trevor Arnett. That's where the Dean, Big Brother Almighty. That's where that scene was shot.
Really?
Yeah,
That makes sense. That makes
yeah.
sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
And I literally my first month in the AUC, I said I'm going to find all the locations,
Of
and
course you
that I could find. Yes, that I could find. And I was
did.
walking. I couldn't find the stacks, and I was walking, because I was like, I went to Woodruff Library.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't find the stacks. Couldn't find the stacks. And I went all around. I was walking by Trevor Arnett. I looked to my left, and there was a window open, and the stacks were there. And I was like,
Nah,
it's right there.
it's right there.
Okay.
Right,
Because
right in plain sight.
yes, in plain sight. Yes. Was when Spike was there, that was the library.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the administration building was Harkness Hall when Spike was most of the time Spike was a student. And then they were building Gloucester. And so Morehouse gave its part of it back to Atlanta University.
Man, what a rich history in Atlanta University and
that
area.
Very
man.
much so. Very much so. Very
You
much
have
so.
no idea. You think you know, but you have no idea.
So what's good, brother? What's
Hey
good
man,
with you?
I had a decent week. All right, so I realized maybe Thursday afternoon that I had Friday off. And so I made some decisions. I made a kind of on the spot decision to go ahead and purchase a ticket on Fandango to go ahead and see The Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Incredible film. Incredible film. I really enjoyed it. Saturday, I made some time to see The Killer and enjoyed that as well. A lot different. It was kind of almost a palate cleanse from The Killers of the Flower Moon. But really enjoyed that as well.
Despite the fact that they both had killer in the title.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much, and having acclaimed directors are, kind of where the similarities in. But
that's Fincher. That's Fincher.
That's David Fincher.
Yeah.
And it's in the upper half of his I of course I had to immediately debate the merits of the movie with the homie Jeff. Shout out to Jeff Jones.
Shout out to Jeff Jones.
Because that's his favorite director. Jeff Jones. And we debated the merits of the film. I strongly believe it's in the top half. I put it in the top 5, but we'll have to revisit that one day.
Wow. Okay.
At any rate, got a chance to revisit. Speaking of revisited Mission Impossible 2. I haven't seen Mission Impossible 2 in about 7 or 8 years because I don't really have a very good opinion of that film. And
that's a long hair. That's a long hair.
That's a long hair in Australia. It's
not Zoe. It's
Tandy
Tandy
Newton.
Yeah, I never saw that one.
Well, I love Tandy Newton, much to the chagrin.
Oh, why? Who's chagrin? Whose chagrin would that be?
Chagrin, any young lady that
Oh, you're vocal about it.
Yeah,
and I guess consistently vocal about your appreciation.
Consistently vocal about my appreciation.
I can understand that. Okay, I get that.
Doesn't always sit well, but at any rate, yeah. So, but she's by far the highlight of that film. It's what I remembered it to be. I'm not a big John Woo guy, so there's that.
Okay.
And I know Faraji would take offense to that, but
well, he's not on the clock. He's not on the pod today. So,
how's yours, man? What you do?
I just shot pictures of 12 families.
I just shot. Man, these pictures that Joe look, man, Joe's so understated. These pictures that Joe takes of these families are incredible. These families, you can see the fun of the. I know it's work. I know you're working, but the families,
it's a lot of driving.
A lot of driving. You go all over the city of Atlanta, man.
For instance, yes, I just want to say Sunday. It's running together, but Sunday morning, rain is falling, just like that. No, it rained. I can't help it. It rained.
I know you can't. That's
why we had beautiful weather. Then Friday is like, oh, it's gonna rain, and so it's starting to get cool Friday. And anyway, long story short, Saturday it rained, so I had to take all these outdoor shoots and either reschedule them or make them indoor shoots. Fine, okay. Very difficult stuff to do. One of them I did shoot outside under a canopy of trees. I was it was bitterly cold at that point. I was in my I was Patagonia'd up. In my
young kids or a kidless couple? Or?
No, they had the kids were like 10 and 6.
Okay.
So they were shivering, but then there was a playground. They're like, "Oh, can we go play outside?" And I said, "I thought y'all were cold." I was like, yeah, that's what I thought. So, right. But Sunday morning, I was supposed to shoot the Lode Holt family at 9 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened, something happened with makeup artist, whatever. We moved it back. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna sleep in, then I'm gonna call into my dad's Sunday school class. This is my plan. Okay. So then my wife says, well, actually, your godson is playing basketball at 10. I was like, okay, well,
there you go.
Okay, so there's no sleep, till Brooklyn. So so the day has begun. So we go see Colton win his basketball game, and then I'm off to the races with shoots that took me to different parts of Atlanta, and then later different parts of Atlanta, and then to Buford. Yeah, Mall of Georgia area, 316, like the road to Athens, and then back to the city to finish with my dear friends, the Sy family, Albert Sy,
yes sir,
his amazing wife Simone, and their three beautiful sons, Albert, Dylan, and Miles. And it was just like, I drove so much, no one ever knows. So I shot at a place where I love to shoot called Chill Studios. Shot at Chill, and I finished my Chill Studios shoot every time with an ice water and a cold A&W root beer that they sell there at Chill. And when I asked for it, the host at the studio was like, "What? You want to?" Yeah, we do have those. It's like, yeah, I've been here a few times. So I'm now an ambassador. I've been there so many times they paid me an ambassador of the spot. Yeah. So I didn't have nearly as thrilling a weekend as you did, and I regret that. But I have less shoots this weekend. Praise gosh, less shoots this weekend. But my daughter will be dancing at the tree lighting ceremony at Atlantic Station, so we're very, very excited about that.
Nice.
Yes. Yes, very, very excited about that. So shutting down Joe Carl's photography after 3 p.m. on Saturday. Well, for Saturday, and then I've got three shoots on Sunday.
Yes.
So
yes, sir.
Yes, during the bye week, during our bye week,
of course.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I know. In the near future, we'll be able to commiserate together as we.
Yes, in the near future. Yes. Two of them commiserate.
Yeah, man.
Can't have it.
So, hey, look, man. If you guys are in Atlanta, make sure and you want that photo shoot. Maybe you got your new boo and y'all are in matching pajamas or something like that. You know what I mean? Or you're in your Sunday best and you want to any of those create a card that will be memorable, or just want to capture that moment in life. Make sure you hit up Joe, man. I'm telling you, like, you won't regret it.
You almost sounded like Melvin Udall when he said, and you want someone to capture the moment with. Thank you.
Hey, anytime I can channel Melvin, I'm doing.
I know this.
I'm doing well.
Thank you so much for that shout out. I appreciate it.
No, I mean it sincerely, man. I mean, and I've sent one of my best friends from high school.
Absolutely.
Like as many people as I can possibly think of. If I ever find myself in Atlanta in need of a photo shoot, or I may just bring Joe up here. I don't know. I haven't had need of a photo shoot for quite a while, but
it's quite all right. It's quite all right. And still I rise. And still I rise.
Indeed. Yes, and speaking of rising, not rising up, but rising down, as it were. We're going to talk about a film tonight. Relatively new film. We don't usually do films that are, within a year of release, but we're back with a new agenda.
We're barely at 6 months. We're barely at 6 months of release. Just over 6 months of release, actually.
We're like Janet Jackson. A new agenda, man. It's
okay. All good. Okay. Got my own life. Got to make my own decisions.
Yes, sir. So we're going to talk about 2023.
Yeah,
was it March, April?
March? I think it was April. It was April, I believe.
Wide release April 5th. Wide release April 5th, 2023. Okay. Of a film by one Ben Affleck. We're going to talk about Air, Air. It was a big deal.
Air.
Air. It was a big deal for a lot of reasons. It was well anticipated. You know, no one's quite told this story in the way that it was told. And it was released by Prime, Amazon Prime, which was
Big
unusual.
push.
Big push. Big push. And you know, to I would say a rousing success. It came out and was relatively well received and made a little bit of money. How did you come to find out about Air?
As you know, I've got all the streaming services, but I'm a pretty big Prime guy. I was watching 8 Men Out actually this evening. That I hadn't seen it in a while, so I was watching 8 Men Out this evening.
Good,
I'll finish
history.
that. Absolutely, I'll finish that a little later tonight. But you know, anything that Amazon's pushing, like The Burial right now, anything they're pushing, you know that means it's going to be in theaters and we're going to see it soon here on the platform. But which reminds me, did Bayard come out? Did Bayard come out? Rustin come out today?
It may have actually. It's the season.
If that happened, my whole night has changed. But what I was going to say was, so it was Final Four, March Madness. They pushed it very, very hard during March Madness, and so because of that, the anticipation was high, and I went to see, my wife and daughter went. They went out of town. I can't remember where they went. They were out of town for Easter.
Okay.
So I went on Easter Sunday. I went to I saw it at Phipps.
Okay. That's a great
Taking
place
it old school, baby.
Yeah.
Very historic movie theater.
Yes,
The first film I saw there was Jerry Maguire. But yeah. So I haven't really seen bad movies at Phipps. I can say that.
Yeah,
I've seen Road to Perdition there, Beats Rhyme and Life, Summer of Sam. Summer of Sam is probably the worst one I saw there, but
and that's saying something because that's
it is saying something. But saw a lot, just Titanic, as good as it gets.
Nice.
I mean, man, what haven't I seen? I've seen a lot of things there. So anyway, so I saw that there.
Okay.
And on Easter Sunday. And in the theater, and then shortly thereafter, it was on Prime, like probably by May or June. So then I started watching it again, and I've seen it a couple times. How about you?
So I was eagerly anticipating this film. I'm a big Jordan guy. Still believe he's the GOAT. I've watched a lot of clips on TikTok and YouTube and other places to kind of affirm that fact. Once Shaq agreed with me, I knew I was in the right frame of thought. But at any rate, I wasn't gonna miss it for anything. And it just so happened that a good friend of mine, my brother Sterling Sanders, was also very much into the film, and he usually goes to see the films with his wife, Christina. He's a big movie guy. We'll have to have him on one day.
Absolutely.
But he definitely was planning to see it with Christina. And I was like, well, look, man, I'm gonna go see this movie like opening night. And I was like, man, can I join you and Christina? And he was like, yeah, sure. And as fate would have it, something happened where Christina had to do something else. And so it was me and Sterl. And we went wearing our Jordan apparel. I had this shirt and some Jordan.
Very snappy shirt.
It's the one. It's the
That is a beautiful shirt.
Yeah, I had my black cement fours, and as it happens, Sterl also wore his black cement fours, and I think those are the if not the favorite, one of the favorites. Like there's a large community of Jordan fans online. A lot of debate about which Jordans are the best, and I plan to revisit that a little later in the conversation. But
we got to talk about that. Yeah.
We pretty much, we weren't matching, but we had matching shoes or whatever. But we didn't plan it that way. But on a pretty cold, rainy day here in Nashville, we went to the AMC 8 in Antioch, which is southeast Nashville. Not my favorite theater, but it was it did what it was supposed to do. And we went and thoroughly enjoyed the film, had some robust conversation afterward about it. But that was, basically the circumstances around me seeing it the first time. And then, of course, when it hit Prime again, I watched it, almost immediately when it hit Prime, to your point, and, have revisited a few times since. And I watched it this week to prepare for the episode.
Sure.
And has not lost any luster. As a matter of fact, I probably enjoyed it a little bit more on this year.
So when did you, okay, famously or not famously among us, when I say famously, I mean, I broke no bullshit like Hard Bob on Billions. I've made it clear that I have never owned a pair of Jordans.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Which has caused, tremors in the force, disturbance in the force.
Reese almost lost.
he did. And so it's causing disturbance. Shout out to Reese. Shout out to Reese right now.
Indeed.
Which is causing disturbance in the force. But since I have never owned a pair, my daughter probably has had 4 or 5 pair. She's 9. My wife has like 5 or 6 pair upstairs now. But when did you buy your first pair? Or when did you acquire your first pair?
Okay.
And what is your favorite pair?
So I got my very first.
Which may be the Smith Forest. I don't know.
No, actually, I mean, so my Jordan history. I mean, my mom's a teacher in Fulton County schools, and then, and so J's were not a regular occurrence. I did get a pair of 5s. Now 5s were the ones that had the Fresh Prince wore famously in that one season. He had the purple, like the grape colored 5s. They had the bottoms and everything like that. They were clear. So I had a pair of 5s, and then for a very long time I didn't get another pair of Jordans. Not from a lack of trying. As a matter of fact, my family was featured on a back to school, like school shopping type thing on WSB. BB Emerson was the reporter's name, who took our family, didn't take our family shopping because they didn't buy us jack, but went school shopping with us at Cumberland Mall. And they had this big, I wanted Reebok pumps and I wanted some J's, and they put them on a big pedestal and spun them around, and then they do a jump cut to my mom. Was like, no, he's not getting those. So, then I had to deal with the fallout and repercussion of that in school.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
But I didn't buy another pair of Jordans until I got to med school.
Okay.
And then by then they were doing the vintage thing where they would come back, they would have different numbers come back. And so I'm a fan of the Huarache shoe style, that, the little sock in a shoe type deal. So my favorite to wear are the 7s. The Hair Jordan, like the colorful,
the gray, couple gray, black, magenta, orange.
All those.
It's more, it's kind of maroonish, but
what a maroon, indeed. All those different colors. Yeah, so I like those.
91, 92 season.
And then I also like the 3s quite a bit. I tell you, every pair of Jordans up to like the 13s, I can deal with, and then after 13. Not so much. Not a big
fan. They've lost. I don't see people wearing the latest J.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah.
But they still keep making them.
Oh, they make them every year. They make them. And
I know there are people that buy it, but I don't see people doing it. I mean, when we were in college, I don't know the numbers like that. I just know the years.
Right.
And so we were in college, obviously, when your senior year of high school, whatever the year that was with the patent. No, that was the year before. The year before was a patent leather.
Right. The people wore those to the prom.
Yeah, it was the patent leather in red, patent leather with the in black. I mean, that's a beautiful. Yeah, that's a beautiful shoe. That's an absolutely beautiful shoe. And then I remember the next year it was a lot of white with like the piping or something around it. Yeah, it was red. Yeah. There's red and there's black. But I don't really. I mean, we were at Morehouse, so you always knew the Jordans.
Yeah,
because someone would have them. But as I'm looking back, and like if I'm looking at today, most of the kids at Morehouse now, well, they're going to wear Dunks or Pandas or something like that. But their Jordans are anywhere from 1 to 6. primarily.
Yeah, you can't mess with any of those, you know. I mean, and the ones, there's so many colorways. They you know, I mean, like the ones are a staple of fashion. Like, you know, I wore some ones to homecoming the past 2 years. You know, they're a comfortable shoe to wear. You know, the homie Jeff has more ones than anybody I know, and I, for the longest, I didn't have a pair of ones. I was kind of, I don't, you know, I get into these things where I kind of contrarian and anti-establishment or whatever.
No.
Oh man, imagine
Shocker.
that. But you know, I gave in and got the ones because they had the Morehouse colorway, and you know, I see the appeal of them. I actually bought a pair of twos because my good friend Damien had a low top pair of twos. I was like, you know what, the twos
is that two behind you? That's the two behind you, isn't it?
That is the two. He's wearing the two, and
it's very white. It's a very white shoe. It's a very white shoe. I remember going to after church once, going to Applebee's in Dallas or TGI Fridays. I think it was an Applebee's or TGI Fridays, and we were waiting on an elevator to go up to the restaurant, and a guy had the twos. And my dear friend and brother Gino Young was like, he said, actually, his dad, Uncle Gene was like, those are the twos. And I was like, the what?
And he just said, no.
He said those are the Air Jordans. I said, no, they're not. I said, no, they're not. Because I was like, to my knowledge, there was one pair of Air, you know, there was the Air Jordan, the ones. Now that we call them ones, but you know, I was like, oh no, those aren't the Air Jordans. Those aren't them. And he's like, no, those are the new ones. And I was like, oh, and I hadn't seen. So at my school, no one would, at least not in whatever grade I was in, no one was right. 5th or 6th grade. No, 5th grade was 84 was the one. So that would 4th grade. So 85 that's when people started to actually have them. The next year, but no one had the twos. No one wore the twos, and it wasn't really until I got into high school that it was more prevalent, and people, that would be like your shoe for the season. You know, people buying J's for the season. And I remember even when my coach, the great Mike Davis, my coach was like, okay, we went to state and he bought us all shoes and you get whatever shoe you wanted. But I was like, man, I'm not getting the Jordan. Like
So what did you wear? What did you wear?
I had an Air Max.
Okay.
He got me a Nike Air Max, and it had like a sock. I wore Avias because Clyde Drexler was my. We're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into this.
Okay.
Clyde Drexler was my man. So I had Avias that were like the Drexler Avias that went almost up to your mid calf.
Neek used to wear Avias.
Who else?
Neek.
Okay, I didn't realize that. So
before he got my Reebok.
I knew him as a Reebok guy. So, but I had the black, gray, and red, like the black, gray, and red, like 868 or something like that. Avias,
like Clyde. For real.
Yes, just like Clyde.
Okay.
And so that's what I wore. But then with the season, you had to have a team shoe. So it was either a Nike, it was something like Nike Air. Or a Converse, and that
like those old flight joints.
Yeah, just a regular flight. You know, it's a real
like Dwayne Wayne used to wear on Different World.
Yeah, but his were far more stylish. So this was like this white shoe with little blue accents.
I got you.
And they were 80. And then the cons, we had some Converse weapons that were 60. And my dad was like, "Yeah, the weapons." And I was like, okay.
And see, our fathers were the Converse generation anyway. So
but he was just like, no, it's $20 cheaper. I was it was me and one other guy that had the weapons, and everybody else, even the poorest guy, Will DeShazer, Will had the Nikes. And so, actually, Will had my old Avias. I gave Will my Avias. And nice. So, but when we went to state, Coach bought us all shoes, and most everybody got Jordans from Coach, but me, I did not. And my father then gave me the money to give back to Coach for the shoes that he bought us. But I vividly recall, like, I'm not seeing the cord enough. Like, I'm just not. And it didn't go with our colorways at all. We were white, blue, and green, but everybody, they didn't care. You put them black Jordans on Jack. Right. I mean, like,
you gonna make them
the
work.
Majority of the team was wearing the exact same. He must have bought like 8 or 9 pair that day. Wow. Yeah, I mean, and we won state, so it worked out. But it worked out. But anyway, so that's part of my Jordan story a little bit there, but I was never. I'm a Magic Johnson guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm a Charles Barkley guy. I'm a Zeke guy.
That's fair.
And part of not wearing the shoes, it's kind of like I've never watched an episode of Big Bang Theory or haven't really watched How I Met Your Mother. It's like I've just stayed away from it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's time. It doesn't make sense because I have no animus towards Michael.
Sure.
But growing up, I was like, no, I'm fiercely on the other side. It wasn't until he came back that I rooted for him.
Okay.
Because I wasn't rooting for him at all. I mean, in the high stakes games. I'm not talking about those first. I'm not talking about the game behind me. Like, I hope he beats Danny Ainge in everything for the rest of his life. And all Celtics save Bird. But and that's a revision. That's a new, But by that same token, I just wasn't. I don't think I realized what it all represented, and then I started to, and then I was like, oh, culturally, this is an inflection point. Yeah. And with Spike coming in, making it like just blowing it up.
Yeah.
And Nike, we'll get to Nike, obviously, and Nike's realizing like, just let them do their thing. Just let him go with this.
Yeah.
Then it became a thing. So I definitely had a poster of Michael holding Mars Blackman Spike by the head, a black and white poster I bought in Times Square.
Nice.
In 1989, and I carried that poster with me. I was on a 2-week National Scout Jamboree trip. I carried that poster with me throughout the Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York. I carried it with me all, brother. A poster.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I carried it with me.
Kept it in good condition.
It was in perfect condition.
Wow.
And I had it up on my wall next to my Bad Boys, next to my Bad Boys poster. You know what I'm saying? So, but I understood the cultural ramifications, but I still was like, I'm good on the shoes. My brother, though, totally different. Same house, totally different situation. But
that's how it happens with brothers.
Yeah, true. Sometimes, but I get it. My sister probably has like 8, 9 pair. But I understand it, obviously, and that's part of the thing that led me to it was interesting about this film, because if you're a real sneakerhead like you are, you understand the history behind those shoes, right? Like not just those shoes, but many shoes, but definitely these shoes. So for someone to bring this story, there's been books written about it, obviously, but for someone to bring this story to the screen, it's like, oh, okay, all right, interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, man. So to jump into the film, man, who were the El Chico Medallion unsung heroes or hero to you in this film?
I just want to say this now. So usually we have like something to base. This is the newest film we've ever done. This film is literally 7 months old for us. I think. Okay, well, I'm not in the gripes yet. So I think the unsung heroes, obviously Scotty, for designing the shoe. It's Scotty for designing the shoe. And then I'm going to say 1984. And you'll see why, because I'm not going to mention Chris Tucker yet, because I mean, he is.
You mean Peter Moore.
Oh, Peter, not Scott. Yeah, I apologize. Peter Moore for designing the shoe. Okay. So yeah, Peter Moore, and then I'm going to say the year 1984. Okay. Those are my unsung heroes for it. Peter Moore for designing it, for the way that he was trying to learn skateboarding. He was going through a midlife crisis, he said, trying to learn skateboarding. But and from all we know, he was given some notes, and then he made the most beautiful shoe ever made. Given like a few notes.
Yeah.
Even though they, in real life they had more time and all that kind of stuff, But I like the movie version where he did it in a weekend. Okay, and built the prototype, the airships.
Yeah. Gave it more film gravitas.
Absolutely. And so, so I like that. And then 1984, it was a fun year. It was a great time. I was turning 10. as this happened. The Olympics, we destroyed the world.
Mm-hmm.
The LA Olympics in the summer. This is like a summer '84 movie.
Oh yeah.
So when we were up, man, we were so far up. It wasn't even it. Man, we were culturally we were up. Black people were up.
Yeah.
USA was up.
Yeah.
We weren't worried about anybody. We weren't scared of anything. We were on top, Jack.
Yeah.
And we didn't care. And that was a fun time to be a kid, a fun time to be alive. And so I think it's kind of shown in the montages throughout the film. So so the year 1984 and please tell me his name. His last name is
Peter Moore. Peter
Moore. Yeah, Peter.
Yep. All right. For me, and this is a guy who, I mean, a lot has been said about him, but David Falk. I really enjoyed and kind of find out and doing some research about the film that it didn't go down that way at all. David Falk definitely was all in favor of him coming to Nike in real life, but in the film, the way it was portrayed, I thought it was really good. I thought the relationship between film Sonny Vaccaro and film David Falk was pretty funny. They had a lot of good interactions. You got to see kind of like I mean, it's how you think an agent acts. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I thought that he played that role. If I hadn't done the research, I would have thought that he, was that way and felt that way and did all those things.
Yeah, if he'd really been that way, I don't think he would have been nearly as successful as he was.
Sure.
And I mean, you got to be cutthroat for your client, no question about that. But
yeah,
I couldn't agree more. And I was wondering, like, why did they write it this way? But it gives it an edge. It gives the story an edge, and we know how it ends. So they just added some creative license there, obviously with Falk. Yeah,
sure. But I really enjoyed him. And then if I had a second. I would say, I mean, I'm always a fan of seeing Jason Bateman. Jason Bateman is Rob Strasser. Jason Bateman's had an interesting career, man. Going back to his role on Valerie's Family or Valerie or whatever you want to call it, the Hogan Family, all the way to Teen Wolf 2 and then a little hiatus there. Then coming back for Arrested Development. I've always enjoyed Jason Bateman, and I think he played that role really well, kind of as that middleman between Phil Knight and Sonny Vaccaro, and kind of the voice of reason. I just thought it was a really entertaining, and fitting role for him.
He rarely misses, man. He doesn't really miss.
Yeah.
If he's in your film, it's better for everyone. If he's in your commercials, he's good in those Verizon ads. With Scott, what's his name? He's good in that. I mean, he's just playing an everyman dad. I don't know. He really has grown into this everyman kind of guy.
Yeah,
that's lovable and likable.
Yeah,
and you trust him. And I'm all in on Bateman. I'm all in on Bateman all the time. So I get it. I get it.
No, what about the little things in the film, Joe? What were the little things that stood out for you?
Sometimes when you do like sometimes when you do a period piece, I think you overdo it.
Okay.
It's kind of like these kids who wear jerseys of things that were current at a certain time, but we never had a jersey for. Like there was never a Bel Air Academy jersey.
Right.
So and it wasn't a thing to wear like Fresh Prince of. Now a short set with the little screen print thing with like a black Bart Simpson, like that type thing.
Yeah.
That was very on trend and on brand. But a Bel Air jersey is like, come on. Or even and I know you have a polk high jersey. Like they didn't sell the polk high jersey, right? They didn't sell the base. They didn't sell the Bayside thing. Right. They didn't sell the Bayside jersey, right?
Sure.
But I think sometimes movies tend to overdo that. Like a Hot Tub Time Machine kind of like overdid it with the cliches, but I got it because it was a comedy.
Sure.
I think the tone was right in this. Now I think they overdid it a little bit, the handheld games and some of the stuff. But I, like the Atari games and stuff. But I think overall, it felt like we were in 1984 because we were. And if you think about it, we were all in these primarily in these interiors,
Mm-hmm.
primarily in the Nike building, which seems so small. There wasn't a campus.
Yeah.
There was just like a 3-story building in Beaverton.
Yeah.
And so to me, the little things like that was part of the authenticity of the moment for Nike at the time.
Yeah.
It was just how innocent and small it all was, and how this division was just, the redheaded stepchild, then later would lead the whole thing to help everybody become billionaires.
Right.
So I thought that was cool. The time period, I'm going to go back to 1984. To me, that's the little thing, and how they captured it well. They didn't overdo it. Mm-hmm. They do the references, they do the magazines. You got the commercials and the montage. Like, okay, I get this is what 84 is about, but it wasn't overdone. And once you got into the Nike headquarters, it was like, okay, well, this is an 84 mindset. So we saw what the outside world looked like in 84. Then we saw what it meant for Nike basketball and for Nike as a whole. Yeah. So for me, that was the little thing.
No, I agree. And to piggyback on that, like even the way it was filmed, like the kind of grainy quality of it, and like you could almost smell like the polyester and everything like that. Like, the way
horrible fashion.
Horrible
fashion. For everybody except Chris Tucker. Horrible fashion.
For me, I enjoyed some of the Sonny Vaccaro things, like him going to the convenience store and having the little conversations with the guy at the convenience store.
At 7-Eleven.
The 7-Eleven shout. Yeah, exactly. 7-Eleven talking about the sports magazines and whether the authenticity, and just showing, I mean, of course this is his perspective on things, but showing he's having his finger on the pulse of like what was actually going on and what people actually thought, in terms of the sport of basketball at the time. I listened to a lot of stuff from Bill Simmons in the Ringer, as we know.
Yeah,
and
so, I do.
Yes. Yeah, he talks about, like, in the book of basketball and everything like that, at around the time that Jordan came out, that, I mean, the NBA Finals was on tape delay. Like, people were not actually watching the NBA.
I think
live.
Falk has a line. He says it's literally in the past.
Right. And
no, it's either Falk or Phil Knight. I can't. One of them says something like it's literally in the past. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it just was not. It was not the thing, and for him to have that tenacity to try to make it the thing and to figure out who the next guy was and to be able to take from the film, looking at Jordan on a particular play when he's off the ball and seeing how he just had the makings of a star. I thought that was fantastic. It was true to the real Sonny Vaccaro, but who really kind of, they took a lot of liberties, as we talked about, but one of the things that was true to him, he was on the circuit of like, he created essentially the first, for lack of, I mean, it wasn't the McDonald's All-American, but it was something like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He created that Dapper Dan basketball tournament and all these kind of things. So he was true to it, and he recognized talent. And the names they were dropping, like, I mean, Vern Fleming and all these guys, like, he knew who he wanted. He went after him and got it.
But he clearly knew more than anybody else about the talent and about the players. Yeah. It was actually kind of funny. Mel Turpin, I've never heard of. I've never heard of Mel Turpin. I'm so happy that Dallas picked up Perkins in that draft, by the way, as well. As opposed to,
yes, he did.
Whoever else was on the board at the time, but Dallas did pick up 44, Sam Perkins. But it's really interesting, to your point. Sonny Vaccaro knew it, and you can see it from the beginning. If I may, if we can get into this, since you're talking Sonny, I had a little issue about the inconsistency with some of the stuff, or not inconsistency, but I know Bishop Gorman High School is in Las Vegas, so there's no need then for the. That's a great. Let me back up.
Yeah.
But there's no need for the plane to then land in Vegas.
Right.
Because I know Bishop Gorman High School is in Vegas.
Right.
And that's where he was.
Yeah.
I was a little worried. I couldn't quite figure. So they're playing a game. He's talking playoffs, but he's betting on the finals, which are in May and June. The 84 finals. So this is before the Olympics.
Yeah.
Because the Olympics are in June, July. Or in July. So I couldn't quite figure out the time a little bit, but sure. Back to Sonny. Sonny was all over the place. He knew people everywhere. He's different. He was different than George Raveling. who was a very, very important coach, obviously, and figure in basketball,
Yeah.
period, and definitely at the time.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that Nike would have had early on that Phil would have like, oh, okay, yeah, I need Sonny Vaccaro here. And Sonny Vaccaro's plan was right. Yes, if we give these kids Nikes, they will come back later and wear Nikes. It's the same. I mean, for whatever reason. I mean, it's like, okay, it's like when Bill Gates gave HBCUs and colleges and universities Office for free. He gave us Office. So we didn't want to use. There was nothing else, but there were other things at the time.
We refused to use any other product,
but we refused to use anything else because that's what we were raised on. It's the Apple Android conversation as well. But but when you're given those things, because it's like, oh, okay, well, that's what we will. That's our brand loyalty. We'll
exactly. They created that brand loyalty. I read an article in preparation for this, and one of the things that they mentioned was he was kind of almost the Oppenheimer of that. You know what I mean? Where he unintentionally unleashed this intentionally unleashed this monster of brand loyalty and the value of Nikes and all those kind of things, and all that wrought in terms of people getting them stolen from, taken from, shot for them, all those kind of things.
Unfortunately.
Did you have a favorite scene?
It's the boardroom. It's the boardroom scene.
Every aspect of it.
Damon. We'll get into Damon, but I thought Damon he delivered it. Particularly well. He was Matt Damon in that scene. Kind of Matt Damon being Jason Bourne a little bit. Kind of Matt Damon like just taking over the room because he's the schlubby, most out of shape person there. Probably smells like cigarettes.
He was looking more Jesse Plemons than Matt Damon.
Jesse Plemons definitely could have done this role. I think
for sure,
if we look at recasting, but nonetheless, he was looking very much like Jesse Plemons. And that's a compliment. But I thought Damon killed it in that scene. There, I thought he delivered it beautifully. And obviously it worked. Sorry if you haven't seen it. Michael Jordan signs with Nike, and they become the biggest shoe of all time. Sorry to be a spoiler.
Right. For real life events.
But that was mine. What about yours? What was your
I would agree. It's mine. And a particular part of that scene that I wanted to talk about was, and we haven't talked about Chris Tucker to this point, but when Chris Tucker meets. When he meets the Jordan family and they had that conversation, I'm gonna tell you, Joe, the first time I saw it, I was kind of off-put by it. You know what I mean? But
why? Because he was late?
I just thought he was kind of almost too blackety black. You know what I mean? Like too corny. But then but it
looked like he had something in his mouth. It looked like he had like chicken in his mouth or like gumbo in his mouth or something. I don't know. I mean, and we love you, Chris. We love you. Gosh, we love you, Chris Tucker.
We wouldn't have this podcast without Chris Tucker. You know what I mean?
No, we would not. You are inaugural. Come on now.
We love Chris
G-Dog on the spot, chilling with the pot.
Big Damone Jr., baby.
Yeah, Junior. No, I just didn't. I don't know the sequencing of shooting that. They might have had him like for 3 days or 4 days, something like that. Because this doesn't look like it took terribly long to do. I should have
definitely a post COVID production. Like,
it's like might have been a month, and I think he was out there for like 5 days. 6 days maybe tops. And then he did that phone booth thing. He could have done that from Atlanta. That scene.
Could have.
But it looked like the old New York airport, by the way. But I was going to say that I understand he was coming up with a lie. He was just trying to be like, why am I late? But they were, I love their reaction. But I mean, them being a couple, Viola Davis, and I can't think of her husband's name, but them being a couple, I think added to their own way they kind of play off each other there as James and Dolores, Jordan. And him looking at him like, now you can't be late now. Now you can't be. I love how he just did. I don't know if that was written because Affleck wouldn't know that. Like Affleck would know that as a director. He wouldn't know that. So I think they were all riffing, man. And I think it was very difficult for anybody to have a straight face when he's in the room. So if he's got to come in flashpoints and leave, it's for the benefit of everyone else, because you can't sit there with Chris Tucker, one of the funniest human beings who's ever lived, and then just keep a straight face because he's like gonna be. So anything he says is gonna make you fall out, but just bust up and lose it.
Yeah.
You'll break character instantly. Right. So they were laughing along with him, but I'm sure the other side of the room was like falling out.
Oh yeah,
laughing because he just said white folks jogging, and you get no reaction. You get no reaction from the rest of the room.
But they get it.
But they get it, and he was completely comfortable with saying white folks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But they knew that that's the other reason he's there.
Yeah,
because he will say whatever he needs to say in that room too.
Yeah.
But I hear you. So you said the first time you didn't like it so much, but you changed your mind, or
I changed my mind like almost immediately on the next rewatch. I definitely changed my mind. I was like, oh, I get it. I see where he's going with this and why the little like the nuances of that particular conversation.
Yeah, he's the A&R guy. He's the. But when he said I was in the club with Moses till 5 the other night, I mean he's the guy. He's talent management.
Yeah, absolutely. But that whole scene, man, was just well played. Even down to Phil Knight being Phil Knight coming in and ham-handedly kind of getting through that whole.
Yeah, nobody was ready. Nobody was ready at all. Yeah. They should have watched the film first.
Yeah,
to our knowledge, they didn't. It was kind of like the Strong. It's kind of like the Strong J ad, Nelson Strong J ad. Nobody watched it before. Have you seen it yet? No, I let Nelson do his thing.
I let Nelson. Hey, man.
She says, "How is it?" I don't know. I let Nelson do this. Famous last words.
We got to re-boomerang at some point.
Oh, we will re-boomerang. I will give you my heart.
Yeah.
And I will always be true to you. Yes.
Yeah. But they definitely did not watch that film. Was it Take My Breath Away? What was the
no, it's I'll Dream About You.
I'll Dream About You. Yes. Dan Hartman. Yeah.
It's a great song.
Yeah. Not what they needed in that moment. No, very much so. All right. Well, did you have any character you didn't like? Michael.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
I appreciate the fact that it was like everything. It's so obvious, like he's a shadowy figure in the whole thing. Not shadowy negative, but he's the thing everybody's trying to get to. So they kept him away from us. He has one word or two words: bull's colors. Mm-hmm. That's the whole new word. 2 words he says. Yeah. In the whole thing, he doesn't speak in the room.
Yeah.
I just didn't like that. I didn't like that.
I thought they did too much in that regard.
Yeah, it's like
you just might as well not have him in it.
Yeah, he seemed like a petulant child.
Yeah.
And everything that we come to hate about the overhyped phenom professional athlete or even amateur athlete.
Yeah.
Being the arrogant, like just like in Any Given Sunday when she said, "You're arrogant." When oh gosh, I can't the baby girl's name. When she's what's her name? Sunshine.
Layla Rashawn.
Layla Rashawn says, "You're too arrogant, but you're too dumb to think of it." But she was saying, "Oh, stuck up." She called him stuck up, and that's kind of how I felt they kind of portrayed him. Yeah. But Sonny Vaccaro did say in an interview, everything pretty much did happen that way. So, but then they show a picture of him smiling and smiling at the actual, if you watch the full credits, he's smiling in the room. So I didn't quite understand like why they chose to make him clear. It's clear he didn't want to be there. He went there for his mother and all that. And then just had only 2 words. He was the character I didn't like.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm with you part and parcel on that. I thought
everybody else was charming. Everybody else was charming and engaging. Yeah, and like you mentioned, the David Falk character, I thought he was hilarious. He was great.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm not out of shape. Out of shape? Have you seen me? I'm not. He's ready to like fight Sonny. Sonny's in Beaverton. He's in New York. Yeah, he's ready to like jump through the phone and fight him.
Yeah.
No. I just didn't like the way they portrayed Michael.
I agree. And the thing is, Joe, I think that this is almost like we can, in one of our newer categories, what is this person doing in this movie? We can really, I mean, even though
he's the only one.
Yeah. Like, I mean, really, we didn't, and some people were upset about it. I think, they kind of missed the point of the movie. The fact that he wasn't in it a lot, but I mean, it's
But that wasn't,
it's not about him really. Like,
no,
I
this
mean,
is a
it
business
is
decision.
exactly. And so, like, I mean, they really almost didn't need him at all. Like, and I think it was one of those things that if they were going to portray him in this way, they probably should have just, like, had him as the unspoken, like, like the whatever was in the case in Pulp Fiction. You know what I mean? Like, we know he's there. You know what I mean? Like, we know. Just don't feature him. If you're not going to feature him, don't feature him.
Did you watch The Offer?
Yes.
On Paramount?
Yes.
I liked how they did that. Granted, they had to tell the story. It's like the story of the making of The Godfather. For those who don't know what The Offer is, it's streaming on Paramount Plus. If you are a fan of The Godfather in any way, shape, or form, you gotta watch this.
There's one bad episode.
Yeah, there is one bad episode. Is that the one where they? Oh, I'm not going to get into it. Well, I'll ask you later.
Yeah,
but there is at least one bad episode. Yeah. There's bad scenes too.
Yeah,
but it's like, huh?
Yeah.
But overall, I think
overall
they did
great.
I think it's great, and I think they did a good job of taking fringe things and all these kinds of things and kind of weaving it into the story in a proper way, such that it made sense. Everything kind of made sense. As opposed to in this case, and granted that was a series, but as opposed to in this case, Michael just seemed like negative from the jump. He's not going to come. He's not going to. We know the whole time we're sitting there watching, we know he's going to sign with Nike.
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, well, something happened, you know, and then we don't even get it from him.
Yeah. We
get it from him. We don't even get we don't get the pound of flesh like, Sonny, what you said in that room was beautiful. We don't get that. We don't get that intellect. We don't get any insight into
any of that savvy.
Nothing into 23 at all.
Yeah, which we know exists.
Absolutely,
because we've all seen The Last Dance.
That's what I'm saying. And we have. So that's what it kind of robbed us a little bit of that. But I think it was a conscious choice. But I think a little, like 4 minutes of it.
Yeah. Just give us something.
Like give me a scene. Yeah. Like him talking to his mother.
Yeah.
About to his parents about maybe on the flight or just somewhere come back from Nuremberg. I mean, just something.
Yeah.
The airport or maybe him walking out with Howard or something. Something like that.
Something like that.
But some kind of payoff. It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Yeah. So another new category for us. Did we really need this subplot? The whole gambling thing with Sonny, like.
But that was his insistence. He only helped on the film. I read an article in it's Athletic or ESPN. Okay. He insisted on putting his gambling in the film. I'll send you the article.
Well, no, I believe you. Well, why didn't they expound on it then? Like, I mean,
I don't think there was time.
Okay,
I don't think it was time.
Okay, well,
but he insisted on putting his gambling in the film.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Was there any subplot that you felt like didn't belong?
Nah. I was gonna say making fun of Phil, but it seemed like that was a thing to do. You make fun of the boss. Yeah. And his eccentricities. No, that was the only subplot because there weren't a lot of subplots.
Okay.
And I was gonna say there was a moment when Strasser kind of got mad. Not mad, but he kind of got on Sonny like, hey, you really jeopardize more than yourself with this. And it wasn't a subplot, but it was a little speech. And then when I read about it, like he was happily married, his wife worked at Nike, like the whole Nike's, he brings his daughter Nike's story. It's not true. That's true. It's like kind of broke my heart a little bit. I was like, I really believed it. And he's up there on his birthday, to try to do this thing. Like everybody's all in. Yeah. All of a sudden, when really they were going to split 254 ways, then all of a sudden they're all in at 250 in a Mercedes. So I don't. it was a little odd, but I don't think there was another subplot that didn't need to be there personally.
Okay. That's fair. Let's talk about the music, man. Because there are a lot of good musical notes. The soundtrack is actually incredible. Yeah,
outstanding.
It really, I mean, again, talk about 84. It captured 84.
Yeah, they got that down right. They were very, very good with that. There's one song in particular, and I screenshotted this.
This is what I wanted to ask you. Okay.
Oh, which one? Which one?
No, yeah, which one? No, I want to know yours.
So there's one song in particular that they use, and I didn't check the date on that one song.
Okay.
But it just kind of it was in Jerry Maguire, and which I was like, this is a little out of place. But you have to be an absolute film, idiot like myself to care. It's called "Through the Hill" by Andy Partridge and Harold Budd.
Okay,
it's the song that kind of comes on when he's waiting on the phone to ring, and every minute, every hour. Waiting on a call from you.
Hey,
that's I know I was through and through.
Okay,
but that was a little kid. Little Keith and Mick and the boys. No, but sorry. But Through the Hill was used in Jerry Maguire, like when he's running to the airport.
Okay.
After I was gonna say Willie Beeman, jeez. After Rod, gets hurt and all that, and it's like this song, and it's the same music earlier when the hockey player gets the concussion, the kid flicks him off. It's this song. It's the only song I think that was out of place. Okay. Not out of place, like
but anachronistic.
Anachronistic. Yes, anachronistically. There he is, national champion right there. There he is. No, if they only end in days and end in Y, those are your moments. But other than that, I thought the songs were great. I thought they were right. The tone was great, man, and the drops were perfect. Yeah, everything made sense. They didn't overdo it. You know what I mean? Like it was because these guys, Affleck and Damon, I'm the same age as them. So they knew what was hot. Like we were exactly the same age. Yeah. So they knew what was hot. We knew what was hot in '84. Like you as a 10-year-old kid in '84, you were fully aware of Michael, Prince, Springsteen, and even the break when he broke down Born in USA.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was such a huge misnomer about what it was about.
Yeah.
As opposed to what it supposedly represented.
Sure.
And when he broke that down,
that was a great moment. I really enjoyed it.
It is a contender actually for favorite scene.
Yeah.
When he says all that, but it also typified it was great.
Yeah,
every song for a reason. The Black Album was 20 years old today, but if it wasn't for like that, because I'll be listening to that for the next several days. Yeah. But if it wasn't for that, I would definitely just jam that for the next, jam.
Sure.
Good Lord, how old am I? Play that.
Hey man, be true to your age, man. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't know jam that. I don't know what that means. You got jammed. The
jamming on the one.
Jam. Baby.
People have no idea, especially since that guy was canceled. But we still love, Anyway, for me, two songs stood out for me.
Yeah.
All I Need Is a Miracle. I'm a big Michael Mechanics.
True. I love Michael Mechanics. Yeah, let's do it. It's so upbeat in '84, man. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And to that point, man, it should be noted, Ben Affleck actually curated a list of 1984 songs.
I'm sure
he tried to attempt to make sure he had the rights for, and some of them he was successful for, some of them not so successful. But the ones that were featured in the film, obviously, he was able to
Right.
And then for me, the other one is that Drop of Serious, man, by the Alan Parsons Project. Just like if I'm thinking of the Bulls,
very timely.
I'm thinking of that song. Like, I mean, that's it.
And the right part of it, not the right part of it, not when you get into the break and all that, but very timely. I'm curious as to when they started that. I'm guessing 87, 88, 89, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
but,
I think
but
so.
using that is brilliant. I mean, and then he also used I'm thinking of that. The use of that was absolutely brilliant and ahead of its time, obviously, but I really dug that a lot. Like, okay. Yeah. You're gonna wink to all of us.
All right. And that shooting guard. From North Carolina.
From North Carolina. Michael Jordan.
Look, man. So I mean, you talked a little bit about you were kind of opposed to when Jordan played. was definitively not a Jordan fan per se. Like I recognize his greatness. I've been to. I think when I recognized how great he was my good friend Euless Moore's mom got us tickets to the United Negro College Fund had a annual basketball exhibition that would be played during the summertime in Atlanta, and it was Magic Johnson's thing, but Jordan was a star. And he would come and show out and show off, you know what I mean? And so like we I was appreciative of him, and I would go to a lot of Hawks games with my dad. And I knew Jordan was the best, you know what I mean? But my Uncle Val, and I love Uncle Val dearly. He lived in Chicago for several years, an obnoxious Bulls fan, you know what I mean? Just completely obnoxious. And he kind of, made me not want to pull for Michael Jordan.
Understood as well.
Once I gained some appreciation for the sport and for sport in general, and recognized that I was watching like one of a kind greatness, I think I came on board and reluctantly.
So the 86 playoffs, that was his first playoffs. He went up against the Celtics. He had all those points, and I was rooting for him and rooting for the Bulls, but they didn't have anything other than him. He had Corzine, probably the worst center maybe in league history, and that's saying a lot. Dave Corzine. So he was up against a lot with that.
A lot of ne'er-do-wells on that team.
Absolutely. Ne'er-do-wells. A lot of ne'er-do-wells. But when it's almost as bad as that team that LeBron took that 07
Gibson and all those guys.
Yeah, that LeBron took to the Varejao to the finals in 07. But so then he started playing my favorite people though. Mm-hmm. So he went up against the Pistons, and I love the Pistons.
Yeah.
And then he went up against Magic, and I love Magic.
Yeah.
And then he went up against Clyde, and that was my guy.
Yeah.
And then he went up against Chuck, and that was my guy.
Yeah. He knocked
him out. So for 3 years in a row, he had beaten my guys. And so I was like, no, I will never support this.
Sure.
And so then he comes back. So then, his father dies and he goes play baseball or whatever. So when he came back, even when he came back that season, I was so excited that they lost to Orlando.
Yeah.
And I hated that, of course, Orlando didn't have enough in them to beat Houston, because we always want to beat Houston. But all the ALCS, the ALCS stuff is still on its way. Oh my gosh, that stuff's on its way. But
shout out to Malachi Sims.
Shout out to Malachi Sims. Shout out to him. And the taxes and the IRS. So when he played in the 95-96 season, 72-10, yeah, sure, I'm with you. Against I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm there.
Malone.
The last three,
Sonics,
I was with them the last three. I had no dog in the fight, but I wasn't against them.
Sure.
The last three, and I was like, okay, sure. I mean, I remember it was 3-3 or something like that in the Pacers series, probably your freshman year. It was like, and I remember Costas, is this the last game that Michael Jordan will ever play? And he had, I think it took them to 7.
Yeah,
took them to 7 in 98.
They did. He said that was his toughest playoff series.
Yeah, those Pacers were, man, that was another kind of world, right?
Yeah.
So, but I'm saying that to say that later I was like, okay, you got to realize the time we're in, and this is a beautiful thing, and respect and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't like anti. I mean, I love ball, so it was what it was.
Yeah, but
I wasn't exactly excited.
Sure,
but everybody else around me loved him.
Yeah,
like my white friends loved him, my black friends loved him, my parents, my dad loved him. Yeah. My mother loved it. I mean, my brother loved him. My sister, I mean, everybody loved him. Yeah. So, but I was viciously and fervently, not viciously, but I was just steadfast in my like, I'm not going to jump on this bandwagon with this guy. I'm just not going to do it.
Sure. Absolutely. I get you. What would you put in a double feature with this?
The Last Dance.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes I assure you guys, if this is your first time listening to us, Joe and I will disagree about things every now and again. But you smoking tonight, man. Look,
so are you, sir.
You watch this in The Last Dance, and you really can encapsulate that whole era.
Yeah, in that era, and well, all and the importance of these of this film, to that legendary run. I mean, to that renaissance and to the way that this film and what it's about changed the entire world. And then The Last Dance shows you how they did it.
Sure. If I throw one other thing, I would put what's in my background here. Come Fly With Me.
Oh yeah.
When that came out, like, that was in Michael Jordan's playground. Those tapes. And it was, it was always just like one person in the class that had those tapes. Like nobody
entertainment tapes. Like my superstars, which I've discussed on several occasions.
Yeah, man.
NBA Superstars. Let me tell you something. If you've never seen NBA Superstars, I don't know why you're listening to our podcast, but if you've never seen NBA Superstar, or even a clip, and you might have seen a clip, you don't even know about it, but go to YouTube. Please go to YouTube, look up NBA Superstars. You don't want NBA Superstars 2, NBA Superstars 3. I want the original.
Except no substitutes.
Please accept none. And that's featuring Irvin Magic Johnson, Larry Joe Bird. It's Janet Jackson Control. Larry Joe Bird, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, Charles Barkley, Hoyer, and so many Akeem Olajuwon with Deani. We talked about it last week. But it's an amazing thing there. But it has so many clips. When you watch Michael's segment, and the song is "Take My Breath Away," you get a better understanding of the showcase of these shoes, which this film is about. Yeah, so
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. We talked a little bit about some casting questions and who could have played.
I can see Jesse Plemons.
Jesse Plemons is.
But it's Damon and Affleck, man. It's Damon and Affleck. You're not gonna get around that. What casting questions do you got?
I don't really have any. I mean, just other than the fact that the only demand Michael had was that Viola play his mom, which was on point.
It was. I didn't like her wig.
Sure.
I hated her wig, and I didn't understand why her lips were bright pink. But I just didn't get it. I'm just
see now. Anytime I watch it, that's the only thing I'm gonna see.
Well, you can't miss it. It's like particularly at the end when she's on the porch. That everybody gets their long thing. It's like Dolores is living in Chicago, and she does this, that, and the other, and boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Bruh, like why are her lips bright pink? I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
But no, I have no problem with I love the casting of that couple.
Sure.
Of her and her husband as Dolores and James Jordan.
Sure.
I thought the casting in this was good.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
It was strong.
It was good. Yeah.
There were like 7 people in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing about it is not as much as beyond Jordan and his family, people don't really care or know about Sonny Vaccaro to the extent of okay, should he be played by Mel Gibson? You know what I mean? Like it's just like
I mean, I even like Marlon Wayans as George Raveling.
Let's talk about Marlon real quick, man.
I like him as George Raveling too.
The choice to not really be for that almost to be a cameo, you know what I mean?
Yeah, basically it is a cameo. In my opinion, it's a cameo. Yeah, in my opinion, it is a cameo. But I mean, because of I grew up watching basketball, man. I just grew up watching basketball. And George Raveling was the coach of USC. Was one of the few black D1 coaches, definitely in 1984. Sure. I think it was like him, Tubby, and the brother at Tennessee, and John Thompson, and so Allen Houston, Allen Houston's dad. I can't think of his name, but there were very few black D1 coaches, probably some Ivy League, very few black D1 coaches, but. Raveling was one of the most important ones, and he was always on CBS. He's always talking at Final Four. His teams were okay; they weren't the best, but he was an outspoken, proponent of the amateur game at that point. And so the fact that he and Sonny at the time had such a strong relationship, they later had a falling out or something like that I read about. But the fact that he and Sonny, had such a strong relationship, I think that was very important because. He knew him, and he was just coming off the Olympics with him, coached by Bob Knight,
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Bob Knight.
Yes, and so I like, but I liked what Marlon did. I thought it was good. I thought his story was great. I thought he delivered it well. His he's been in LA too long because this New Yorker's accent that was heavy in Mo Money.
Yeah.
It seemed labored later on, but I guess he's older and he's trying to make it sound a little older because Raveling has a pretty deep East Coast, New Yorkish East Coast accent. But other than that, I thought it was good. I thought it was light and to the point, and he was believable.
Yeah,
as Coach Raveling.
Well, Marlon doesn't get as much props as I think he deserves, man. He's actually out of the Wayans family. He's the best actor.
Yeah, I thought he was great in The Respect. Yeah, I really did. I really thought. It was a rough role, but I thought he was great in Respect. I was like, why isn't Marlon Wayans get more love?
Yeah,
why are we Power Tap? Is that's all we're Norbit. No one ever speaks about that.
He's been in
hilarity,
some bad movies too, but
gotta be checks.
Requiem for a Dream. I mean, Jesus Christ, man.
No, he's got a good agent.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I thought it was. I wasn't expecting it, and thoroughly enjoyed that particular scene, and thought that he really to your point brought that character home that we needed to know, like gave him some gave Sonny Vaccaro again a little bit more credibility and as an insider. Agreed. All those good things. Yeah.
Agreed.
So
so
we aren't going to be able to use some of our other categories that we created. Like, could this be an all-black cast? I mean, it's a biopic. You know what I mean?
No, it's biopics. No.
Yeah, and whether it could be remade or not, too new.
No, leave it alone. Leave it as it is. Leave it as it
is. Not ready for a TV show about it yet either. I think
I think we've got that covered. I think we did an exhaustive 8 hours, 10 hours or whatever it was.
And fittingly, Chris Tucker is in fact the heat check of this movie. In my
man. There's no time. I mean, look, when is he ever not?
If he's in the movie,
actually, it's the Chris Tucker Award.
Yeah, it's the Chris Tucker Award. It's the Chris Tucker Award.
It's the Chris Tucker Award. You could call it the Chris Tucker Kevin Hart in 40-Year-Old Virgin Award. But you can call it,
you and you.
What did I do? It don't matter.
It don't matter.
And I quoted Frosty. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what they were saying. I still don't know what they were saying.
Man. If you know, you know.
Aim high, Willis.
Aim high, Willis.
They were just talking, just black men just going at it, just going ham on
that. Ham.
But no, I loved every scene he was in. He was hilarious.
Yeah,
he's like, and he kept saying like, Sonny, you might know basketball, but you do not know this culture. And you know these black people, but you don't know black people. But you're comfortable. You're exceptionally comfortable around black people. You can't be Sonny Vaccaro and not be like completely at ease among blacks. But you don't know this culture enough,
right? Stay in your lane.
Yeah, and I'm here trying to help you learn more about this culture.
Yeah.
But I thought he was great. Was in like 4 scenes.
Yeah, stole them all.
He stole everything, and then when they were doing the all the press, he was right there, front and center.
Yeah,
it would be hilarious to me, and I would love this if somehow, I don't think he's in it enough, but if he gets a Golden Globe nomination for supporting actor, and then that turns into he's just not in it enough, but that turns into like somehow, some way, a way for him to get a nod. Because you mentioned Oscars, and we can we'll get into that. But I thought he was great. I'd love to call the Heat Check Award the Chris Tucker Heat Check.
No, it is officially the Chris Tucker Award. No need to even mention Heat Check.
Okay, good.
The Chris Tucker Award, we know what it means.
Yeah, we know what it means.
Let's talk about it. Okay, so what if any Oscars is this film deserving of?
Art direction.
Okay.
it just showed the ugliness of 84. The art direction, not costume design, but definitely art direction, editing.
You get some points for that purple Porsche. Any points for that?
Definitely. That's part of art direction. But I would say art direction. There's no art direction really is set design. Editing, film editing.
Okay.
With the montages and the mashups and everything else, I would say film editing. From an acting perspective, I don't think anybody was really the lead other than Damon, and I think Damon was being Matt Damon.
Sure.
I don't think. I mean, he was Sonny Vaccaro, no question, but I think he's being Matt Damon in the movie. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it is.
Because sometimes you're just who you are. It's sometimes a star is who they are.
Yeah.
In a film, and I think he was being Matt. I mean, he was Matt Damon. Like, I'm a Matt Damon, so I'm going to sit down. I'm going to give you the speech. Listen to this speech. Matt Damon, you're gonna hear, and oh boy, what happened?
Oh, we're good. We're back.
Of course it was me. Okay, of course it was me. So Matt Damon, I was gonna say, of course it was me. Matt Damon, though, I thought I wouldn't be mad if he gets a nomination. If it knocks a black man out of it, though, I'd be upset.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
If he takes I don't know what that black man's spot would be, but if he takes a black man's spot, we know that wrestling's gonna be fine. They've been calling that an Oscar film for like 3 years.
By the way, the wide release is this Friday, the 17th.
Okay, I knew. Okay, so in my mind, I don't know why it is the 17th is today. In my mind, I have no idea why.
I wish it were. I wish it were later this week.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, well, it's not on Netflix until next week.
No, 17th is when it's on Netflix. 17th. So it had its theatrical release the 3rd, and
really,
yeah, but it was a limited release.
Okay. Yeah. This seems like a limited release town. I'm in.
Yeah. For that, I'm sure you can probably find it somewhere.
I'm sure I could.
Yeah.
Damn it! It's the landmark of the Terror or something like that.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I think, as we mentioned previously, I think Viola, I mean, anytime Viola's acting, she's...
Yeah, you say that, and probably because of her. So when you told me that last week, I just want to say this. After the last scene, like her scene when she's talking to Sonny, I can see that being in her Oscar scene.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And then for me, I think the writing, the screenplay.
Yeah.
And I think this is an original screenplay. It's not an adapted screenplay. So, I think, it's going to probably be against the holdovers, that kind of thing. I don't know if it'll win, but I think they'll be recognized. I think, they're probably chomping at the bit to recognize Affleck and Damon's reunion as well. So
sure.
So some kind of way they'll figure out a way to get this into the zeitgeist around that time.
I can see that.
Yeah, and I see them. I can see them doing a push. Remember Us, you know what I mean? Because it came out kind of early, much like Everything Everywhere All at Once. But unlike that film, it didn't.
No, we'll see. You'll see it a lot more.
Yeah, it didn't maintain the momentum.
You'll see it a lot more very, very soon, particularly with the season underway.
Yeah,
and we'll see it a whole lot. There'll be a push on Amazon. There'll be the whole. You'll see it a lot more.
Sure.
In I don't know when the Golden Globe nominations drop, but we'll see it very, very soon.
Sure,
I feel.
Yeah, I'm with you. Any last words on the film?
I thought it was enjoyable. That was tight. I did not know. I went in totally. I knew who Howard White was, but I did not know. And of course, Phil Knight, and I know who Sonny Vaccaro was.
Yeah.
But I didn't watch the 30 for 30. And so that could be another double feature. By the way, you could do the 30 for 30, the Sonny Vaccaro 30 for 30. But I thought the film flowed well. We knew what was going to happen. But you go in the theater, the only people who didn't know what was going to happen are like 6-year-olds or 8-year-olds.
Sure.
So inevitably in the end, But despite all that, I've enjoyed every single time I've watched it.
Yeah,
which is so interesting.
Yeah,
given the fact that I know pretty much what's going to happen.
Yeah,
every time, and then and I also like the fact that that little business. There was like 3 stories or 2 stories in Beaverton, and like a nondescript office park, is now just one of the most important businesses in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And 40 years later, because of this black man.
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting. Who is a board member? Who other black men are on the board? I don't think there were any black board members in '84.
Yeah.
There were no black faces on that wall when they went to that little tiny Nike boardroom in 1984. But yeah, that's I enjoyed it tremendously.
Yeah.
And it was one of the few films I saw in the theater this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really, it was a cool watch, man. I think I called you like, I saw Air, because we've been trying to do Air for like 8 months. So I called you and
we were going to do it like within a month of the release.
Yeah, within a month of the release. I was like, oh yeah, I saw it. I'm good. I saw it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And it just never, life just got in the way. But I enjoyed it.
Life was life. I enjoyed it as well, man. It definitely taught me something. Which is, again, I really try to, even if it's a true story, I try to go in with as little information as possible to any movie. Like, with Killers of the Flower Moon, I knew I intentionally didn't read anything about the Osage, any of that. But, this stuff you couldn't, in our culture and in our lives, we can't avoid this stuff. And yet I learned a lot from the film. So, I can't ask for much more. To your point, it's very entertaining. Very rewatchable. I can put it in.
We just both did it.
Yeah. I can literally. It's one of those movies that if it's because of the nature of it being on Prime, it's not on like when I turn my TV on, I can't like just.
No, it's not. It's not.
But if it were, I feel comfortable watching it. Wherever.
Sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. Well, Joe, it's on you now. I think because this is.
I know I have the honors. I've been mulling it over in my head. I don't know. I'm all over the place. Bouncing off the wall like Lucille Ball.
You want to have an offline conversation about it?
Yeah, we take it off. We'll take it offline. Surprising people. Okay. But yes, brother. But hey, Air.
So we did it.
Streaming now on Amazon Prime.
Man, watch it. It's free. If you got Prime, if you don't order some water, some bottled waters, and had them delivered to your door.
I don't know anybody who's listening to this that does not have Prime.
Yeah, man. You watching the Thursday night football game some kind of way. You might be
Thursday night football.
Yeah, man. If you borrow somebody's Prime account and watch Thursday night football, just go ahead and watch it, man.
Yeah. It's a very enjoyable film.
My friends who are mothers of young kids, like my friend Amanda, she bought her son his first pair of J's, you know what I mean? And I was happy to help guide her through that process and tell her, you don't want to wear those 6-ring joints or any of those bootleg Jumpman joints. You need to get them some numbered Jordans. And so, she made the right move, made the right decision, and MJ's happy for that.
No Jumpmans.
Man. So, watching this film will give you some frame of reference. Watch this movie.
Absolutely.
And then you'll come in a little bit more aware and not just enjoying listening to me and Joe banter. Although if you enjoy listening to me and Joe banter, that's fine too.
Come on in.
We love that. We love that. And on that note, we are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify. We're on Anchor. We are anywhere where you want to pick up a podcast, or if you want to watch us on YouTube, we're there too. So, check us out. Go listen to our old work. We got a lot of stuff in the vault. A lot of films in the vault. So much so that we get confused sometimes about
Sometimes we forget.
But your favorite movie is there. Shout out to my new friend Lenitra, who listened to our Friday podcast apparently and was enjoying that.
Thank you, Lenitra.
Yeah,
appreciate that,
man. We want to provide you some entertainment and help you to enjoy the things that you enjoy just a little bit more, enhance that enjoyment. So we're here for that. So until the next time, we are the Open Tabs Podcast. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you the next time. Peace out, 2 fingers.